Hello, everyone. We are back here with Facebook Live at 1:30 every Tuesday Pacific Standard Time. And today, I will tell you, I have a huge amount of content for you today. Today's topic is listings, and showing seller value. All right. Well, we have no choice but to jump right in to all this content. Now, I want to lay some groundwork first as I go through. Now, there's three realities that I want you to internalize. In fact, in my opinion, you need to internalize them to really be able to win more listings. One is sellers are hearing the same thing from every single agent over and over again. So, if you're going to win more listings, then you need, to separate yourself. You need to be a little different. And specifically, I want you to think about how you can be more client-centric, which we're certainly going to talk about today. Second, I hear agents say this more than I'd like to admit. And that is, my clients choose me for me. That's all they worry about. It's just me. And I will tell you this, you need to internalize this if you want to win more listings, specifically in a very competitive environment. I will go on the record and say your clients don't choose you for you. They choose you for them. And what they're actually saying to you is, and I'll use my name for this example, Mark, we're choosing you today because we feel you're the best choice for us and our family and this decision. But as soon as we don't feel that any longer, I promise you, we'll make a different decision. Guys, if we forget that, the song is not about us as agents. It is always about the client. And specifically with sellers, it's about the seller. Certainly, of course, it's about the buyer as well. But in this example, we're talking listings, so it's about the seller. I want you to keep that in mind as we move forward. And then third, you're never going to get around this, and I want you to keep this in mind, more contacts, more presentations, more wins. So we're never going to get around that if you communicate with more people and do more presentations, all right, you're going to win more. You got to understand you're automatically practicing and getting better because you're doing it more often. And just by sheer numbers, you're going to win more listings. So there's nothing around, nothing getting around you making sure that you have a DRC. That's why we teach it. Daily revenue commitment of how many people you're actually talking to each day. I would have no problem if it was one, but you've got to do it consistently and you've got to do it each and every day. All right, I have a question for you that I've never once got a different answer for. So think about that. I've always gotten the same answer to this question by no matter what agent I spoke with. Here's the question. If 100 agents listed the same home, I know, silly example, but if 100 agents could list the same home, do you believe that the net to the client would be the same regardless of who listed the property for sale? The answer I always get is absolutely not. And you'd be correct. So by definition, what we're saying there is depending on who is marketing the property for sale, who is managing the property through the start to finish to close, it matters. And it can absolutely affect the seller's net. In fact, I will submit to you that it could affect their net by thousands and thousands of dollars, depending on who they hire to market their property, the sales executive as well as the company. All right, let's start off with really getting involved with the seller's mindset. And I'm going to give you 4 mandatories. And in one way, shape, or form, these 4 mandatories are there all the time. All right. You'll recognize 2 of them because I always put these as the top 2, and they are here as well. But I've included 2 others. So there's 4 main mandatories. If a seller is thinking of selling their house, Mandatory 1, sell my house. Okay? Get my home sold. Mandatory 2, make me the most money. Make me the most money. 3, get me the best terms. Get me the best terms. Oh, by the way, included in that is don't forget about my included add-on wants. So based on a specific time frame, don't forget I need or want this based on my world and what I'm going through. So best terms and my added wants. And then number 4, I want no hassles. I want a smooth transaction, a smooth process. All right, let me repeat that. Sell my house, make me the most money, best terms, including my wants, and no hassles, smooth process. All right, I want you to remember that because those key are 4 mandatories. And I know we're going to cover a lot today, but don't forget this, that 1, we automatically send this video out to everybody. All right, so don't freak out if you can't remember all what I'm going to go over here shortly. We send it out to everyone. It's on YouTube, all right? And, of course, it's copied on Facebook. So keep that in mind. And, of course, any information I'm going to cover that you need, just go to your branch managers and we'll get you the materials that I'm going to reference in today's content. All right, so we never forget the 4 mandatories. So what should you be ready to bring to a listing presentation to ensure that you're going to have the best possible chance to solidify that listing? So what should you be ready to bring and what should you be ready to discuss? Now, don't forget about our 4 mandatories because here's the key. Everything I want to share with you in some way, shape, or form should tie back to those 4 mandatories. Rarely can we go into a presentation and virtually know what the client wants. I'm giving it to you. Sell my house, make me the most money, best terms, my wants, smooth transaction, no hassle. Okay, so we know those are key. There may be others, and we'll talk a little bit about that, but those are key. All right, so 1, show up with a winning and ready mindset. Now, this may sound simple, but I'm going to tell you, we've got life going on. You've got personal issues, you've got business issues, you've got frustrations, okay, whatever that, for all I know, it was traffic on your way there. The reality of that is prior to you walking through the threshold of that door, I don't care if you're doing this on Zoom, whatever the case may be, is get your head in the game, all right? And be clear on what you're talking about, and you're focused on the best interest of your client. And in this example, it's the seller. Okay, if your mind is wandering on something else, it will absolutely decrease your chances of solidifying that client. Do your best to relate, okay, and know that client. Best advice I can give you with this, if you don't already know them and they're not part of your sphere, is check it out on social media. There's so many different ways that you can Google somebody and get information about them. Anything that you can learn about the individual and what's important to them could only add, okay, to the content and add to your mindset of what you need to be sensitive to. Utilize easy, understandable visual aids. Guys, listen, you're going through a presentation. You don't want confusing visual aids, confusing information. So the best way you can check if something is easy and understandable and easy to follow is practice. I'd pull another sales executive in your branch and say, hey, let me go through my presentation and why don't we do it together and I'll listen to yours. And I just want to make sure that it's clear and easy to understand. You know, when I go through and I write these Facebook presentations, they're not slam done in one shot. I go over it and over it because I want to make sure what I'm sharing is understandable and flows well and is not confusing. Well, guess what? This presentation is no different than any other presentation. You want it to flow easy for your client to understand and move with you, not be confusing, jumping all over the place. How do you do that? Practice. All right. Get answers to any remaining questions that you may not have gotten answers up to that point. For those of you who know very intimately the Book of Everything, all right, if you need a copy of the Book of Everything, again, go to your branch manager or Rick Barabee can certainly help you. In fact, Asking the questions about a listing are on page 31. So information that you want to know in the book of everything. So you know what? You may have gotten some of the answers to these questions. You may still need the answers. So I want that in mind. What other answers have I not received? Maybe it has to do with their specific timelines. Maybe more information about their motivation. Whatever the case may be, is you need to finish getting those answers. This next one is huge. Know their hyper-local market down cold. You must be the market expert. All right. Now, there's numerous ways to do that. One, if it's an area that you sell on a consistent basis, you may be very skilled in that area. If it isn't, prior to you doing that presentation, don't shoot from the hip. You have got to do your homework on that hyper-local neighborhood. You know, I want to tell you a story. One of the things, and I wish I could tell you it was a great idea that I came up with because I thought about it, but really for me it was a necessity. When I started selling years back, I had just left college. And so I didn't know the areas of town. You know, you really didn't leave the campus of where I was at in Las Vegas. You stayed pretty much there. So I really had to learn different areas. And so one of the tricks that I used to do and really helped me is I would go to every listing appointment 2 hours early. All right. Now, I'm not suggesting everyone do this, but I'm going to tell you right now, it wouldn't hurt. It was an amazing process for me. And here's what I did. I would preview every single listing that was on the market at the time. All right. I know we're in a different world today. This too shall pass, but I'm giving you, you know what? Some of these, wear your mask. If it's okay with the client, you can come in and preview. Certainly if it's vacant, you can preview. I want to be really upfront. I even previewed properties that had already just sold. All right, so they weren't even on the market, but I wanted to see the property, all right, so I could talk intelligently about it. So my client knew I knew something about that hyper-local market that was important to them. One other little thing I used to do, and it really helped me, and I think it also helped bring that expert feel, is I would remember all the streets. I would write them all down, all the main streets around the property that I was going to do the listing presentation for. What I found was people didn't really know a lot of their streets like behind them because they always kind of drove in the same way. So they weren't really familiar with their neighborhood. But guess what? I was. I knew the streets in order. All right, yes, in many cases I just learned the streets in order, but I knew them. And over time, it really helped me from presentation to presentation because I started to really learn the areas because I would go early and I would view the neighborhood. Now, when I was ready for that presentation, I had a couple hours, I was comfortable, I wasn't rushed, I never was late. Why? Because I had left so early. All right, what was beautiful, when I walked into the house, I could speak intelligently like an expert about their area. And I promise you, it meant a lot to those clients to know I could speak about the streets and properties and the information around their area. Very, very helpful for me. All right. Remember to forward pace your clients. What do I mean by that? Listen, for those of you who've had experience in listing and selling properties, you already know the risks of the things that could happen. Make sure those aspects are part of your presentation and you have the solution, okay, of how you deal with those scenarios. Keep in mind, the more real life examples that you can share of what your experiences were with other clients and how you presented that is always powerful. Here was the stumbling block. Here's was my solution. Here's how we dealt with it. And here's how I brought a win to my client. Next, interact like you're getting the listing. Okay, now, if you remember, what was it, a week back, maybe a week or two, I shared about confidence. This is huge. Practice is powerful with this. So the more presentations you go on, the better at this next one, you'll get there. When I would go into a listing, I believed there's no way, and I got to tell you, this is not coming from being full of yourself. This is coming from, you know what? I know these sellers are in great hands if they go with me and my organization. Okay? They're with Mark and Berkshire Hathaway. They are covered. So I have that attitude that, of course, they're going to market their home for sale with me. It's in their best interest to do so. So I would move forward and ask questions like I already had the property. I would want upgrades about the property that I wanted to include in my flyer, okay, to build that. Well, that's a beautiful thing. So now I'm just asking those forward asking questions, all right, those assumptive questions, because guess what? I'm already going to get the listing. I need this information. What are the best days, okay, for open houses? In the days of open houses, okay? They will be back, I promise you. All right, whatever those forward-thinking questions that you would need to know if you're actually getting the listing, I would just ask, because of course I'm going to get the listing. And I have to be really upfront with everybody. When I ever didn't get the listing, and absolutely that happens, okay, I was surprised because I really felt I knew the market. I could do the best job for the seller. So it was a little weird to me if I didn't get the listing when I went in there. But that assumptive mindset is really, really powerful. All right, next. Never work with percentages, okay? Always work with monies. You know, I hear from sales executives all the time, well, you know, a friend, a competitor, another broker offered X. Okay, stop. Welcome to our world forever, all right? It's all about, you know what, showing the right value and making sure the client feels comfortable that, you know what, if I go with you, my interests as your client are protected and I'm going to do better by being with you than anyone else. We just agreed at the beginning that if 100 agents listed, the net's going to be different. So let me ask you, what are you going to do to support the 4 mandatories and have my back as your client? And they've got to understand that aspect. So when you run into someone who is offering a commission that's less than you're offering, whatever, get the difference, okay, and figure it in money. So easy example, $500,000 property, if there's a 1% difference, the issue is a $5,000 difference. Do not talk percentages, all right? No one goes to the bank and puts in 10%. They go in and put in money. So don't talk percentages. Clients don't connect with that, but they do connect with $5,000 in that example. And then, yes, that client's got to feel that you're going to be greater value, okay, and save them more than $5,000 and do a better job overall, all right, in that example. And I'm going to tell you right now, $5,000 in that example, clients can lose $30,000 on a $500,000 home if it isn't done right. So know that their risk factor is so much bigger than the commission. But you've got to stop falling in this mindset that it's about commission. Because I'm going to be blunt. You're the issue. You're the issue for you. And so if you focus on that it's commission, you're right. It will be. Because you're losing sight of being client-centric. It's not about the commission. It's about me as the client. In this example, I'm the seller. I win. I get what I want. I do the best I can do because you and your company have my back. Guys, you got to internalize this. You're either going to be the issue or you're going to be the super person, the superman, the superwoman who comes in there and makes sure that you've got their back going forward. All right. Rule of thumb, never discuss home value until you actually see the property. You know what? Well, Mark, I know all those homes are very similar. I know that area. I know the market. Stop. It's disrespectful to me as the client. All right? Because my house, all right, I'm going to share something that Alan Dalton said. Well, let me just share it right now. Remember Alan said, never comparable, always a competitor. We don't have comps. We have competitors. All right? Even if they're a sold. Well, but that's a comparable. No, it's a competitor that's sold and closed. No one's like my house. And if you don't believe me, ask me. All right? I don't care if they're the same floor plan. They weren't as nice as mine. They didn't have as many upgrades as mine. And I got to tell you, you need to come in with empathy for the sellers who truly did put in a lot of money and commitment to their home. They spent thousands of dollars different than another competitor, okay, to make their house look nicer. And guess what? Yes, maybe an appraiser's not going to take that into account, but you, okay, someone who has their back as their advocate needs to take it into account. So keep that in mind. Not comparable, okay? They are competitors, number one, all right? And never discuss the value until you've seen the house so you know all the upgrades. You know what I did. You know what my commitment was to this property, and you can take that into consideration. And always, all right, always have empathy for that scenario. All right, next. This is big. Always position yourself as you and the seller against everything, okay? You and the seller against the market, you and the seller together focusing on achieving their goals. The mistake I see a lot of sales executives make is they go, it's the market and the agent against the seller. Because see, I'm the professional. I did my homework. I need to share what the market's doing. Okay. I'm telling you right now, listen closely. You can get across what the market's doing by also being an advocate for the seller. So I'm not telling you not to share the facts of record. You need to. But guess what? It's me and my agent against the world. All right, not in a situation where, my agent has to pound into me what's going on in the marketplace. I get it, but I need an advocate, someone who has my back. So I always made sure it was always me and the seller against the market, me and the seller against any issue that came up. All right, so we are always like this. And you know what? That builds that relationship. And I'm going to just be blunt. That's the way the relationship would be. And I promise you, that's what your clients are expecting. All right, now let's shift a little bit more into marketing, because I will tell you what you're going to do to market my property and generate activity is going to be key. That's going to tell me so many things about the 4 mandatories. So let's jump right in. All right. Rule number 1, before I start going down marketing, please don't make this mistake. So many people tell people that, T-H-A-T, that they're great. I don't ever want you to tell people that you're great. I want you to show them why you're great. Let me repeat that. Don't tell people that you're great. Hey, by the way, I'm awesome. No, really. If you don't believe me, ask me. I am the best of the best, okay? Not the way to go. Show them, okay, why you're great. Why is so much more powerful than that? I'll give you an example, okay? Silly example because I've never really done this, but I'm going to share it because I thought of this analogy or this example. You know what? I'm an amazing rock climber. I am so good. I am a better rock climber than anyone I've seen rock climb. I am just killer at it. I just picked up on it really quickly. I'm a tremendous rock climber. Versus, here's a picture of me at the top of Mount Everest. I got to tell you something. Wow. That was a heck of an experience, something that will be part of me forever and I will never forget. You want to know something in that example? When they see that picture of you at the top of Mount Everest, they will automatically understand that you're a damn good rock climber, okay? They get it. They get it. But I'm showing them why I'm great, not telling them that I'm great. The same concept works with selling's not telling, it's asking great questions. So it goes with that same line. You ask great questions, you get feedback from them, and it gives you your path to best support their needs. All right, so let's jump in here. Why, all right, we're going to go with why, not that. Why does BHH invest heavily in technology and systems? Why does Berkshire Hathaway Home Services spend so much money, time, and effort to invest in technology, continuing to upgrade the technology and systems? Well, 1, to maximize buyer activity and the number of offers that's placed on the properties that we market for sale. That's why we do it. We want to attract more buyers, more activities, so we sell more of our properties more quickly. All right, get the property sold. We want to have more offers because that increases the money that our clients make, and it gives us leverage to manage the process better on their behalf. Does it all make sense? See how it supports, okay, the 4 mandatories? All right, that's why. Don't just go into technology. No one cares about technology. Why is it good for me? So you got to share with them why our investment in technology and systems is good for the seller. Okay? How about this? Why do you leverage your relationship with other agents in the MLS above and beyond your own company? You know, Alan Dalton talked about this too. All right. You should have a great relationship and present a great relationship with all agents in the MLS. They're all working with you. Okay. And they're all teammates to help you get your listing sold. And guess what? You know how many examples I've heard from our own sales executives that they're so careful about their relationship with other agents because they know they're going to probably be writing an offer on one of those other agents' listings. And isn't it nice? Did you have a great relationship that you can pick up the phone and go, hi, hey, this is Mark, Mark Stark. Hey, Mark, what can I do for you? You know what? I've got a buyer. They're very interested. You know what? They know right up there that, you know, Mark's been great to work with. Mark's supportive. Mark is professional. Mark follows through on his commitments and does what he says he's going to do. Mark doesn't beat me up over every single thing that happens. You know, I'm not telling you that sometimes it doesn't get like this with the other agent. What I'm telling you is you got to manage your emotions and manage it knowing that one day I might write an offer on that, or they might have an offer for one of my sellers that, guess what, is a good offer. And I want to work with them because guess what? They're not as high as they need to be, and I need to get them higher. And you know what? There's a level of trust and there's a good relationship there. So now you have forward paced that agent to know when we work together again, we're going to be like this. And you're going to want to work with me and I'm going to want to work with you. And it's a win-win scenario in that aspect. All right? So leverage up and explain that you have why you're leveraging up that relationship with other agents. It's in their best interest, okay? More agents you have a great relationship, they see your listing, they want to sell it. Great for your seller. Same example. Okay, next. Why do you effectively stage a property for sale? Well, let me tell you why I effectively stage a property for sale. Because it increases the speed of sale of my properties and it increases the price that I can sell my seller's home for. So see, I'm able to maximize my client's equity in their home because I stage it very effectively and I'm damn good at it. And so do you see, everything you're doing ties back to their 4 mandatories in some way, shape, and form. Now keep in mind, when you've asked other questions, maybe they give you a couple more or one more mandatory that's really important to them. That's awesome. Tie it back to that too. But whatever you go over, if it's not tying back to one of the mandatories, guess what? It's just floating out there going nowhere because as the seller, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. You may be excited about it, but I'm not excited about it. And so I lose sight of that information. Why is it important that you effectively manage offers that come in, especially in the world we're in now, where you're managing multiple offers? Do you think that's easy? Do you think that price is going to be the same thing regardless of which agent is managing that process? Oh my God. I hate to think of the thousands and thousands of dollars that potential sellers are leaving on the table for mismanaged of specifically multiple offers. Truly any offer, but specifically multiple offers. All right? There's a way to handle that. Listen, how many times have you received an offer, but after doing your homework, even though it's the highest offer, you know what? There's a lot more risk. They're not as qualified. I asked great questions, so I didn't leave my seller twisting in the wind, and they couldn't answer those questions. So be it that they're promising this, I can tell and I get the distinct feeling that they're not going to be able to step up to the plate to do all that they're promising. I'm open-minded about it, but if they want the property, for example, waive the appraisal contingency, no problem. Well, that's easier said than done. I can write the word waive, okay, and I can agree to it, but if I can't close when the appraisal comes in too high, guess what? What are you going to do? I know, well, we potentially can keep your earnest money, maybe, all right? And that's not a fun process, as many of you know. So the reality of it is, you know what? What sounds good on paper may not be in the best interests of the seller. So we need to do our homework in advance. That's what makes you different. That's why you manage it effectively. Because not only do you get them a higher net on their property, but you make sure it's real. Listen, I understand things can happen to anyone, okay? Buyers who are well qualified can have negative things happen. Things change in their life and situations move and change. I get that. But my God, let's limit that and not fall into the scenarios that just because someone tells us something, that it must be the case. In a market like we are now, there are people that will throw in an offer just to get it right now and trying to figure things out later. Well, guess what? That's not one of the offers that I want to accept for my seller. I want a solid offer. In some cases, it may be a little bit less for my seller, but guess what? They can now move and have certainty, and they're protected in a big way. I hope that message came through strong, because it's certainly a powerful one. I want you to, and this is a stat that you can check on, why are you able to sell properties over market consistently? And if you search up what Berkshire Hathaway Home Services does in your market, and or you individually do in your marketplace, you will be amazed how consistently we sell over market. Sometimes as little as 2-3%, and I've seen it as high as 7 to 10% in a neighborhood. Do you know what that is? And remember, we don't talk percentages, we turn that into dollars. Okay, if I got a seller 8% more on their $500,000 house, okay, 5 times 8, what is that? $40,000 in their pocket. Okay, so one, I do my homework on that offer to make sure that's real, all right, from that standpoint, all right, and I've done my job to maximize their equity. And why? Because that's what I do on a consistent basis for all my clients. All right, so keep that in mind. Look at that stat and be ready to share that stat with your client. And again, there's nothing wrong in using what Berkshire Hathaway Home Services does as a group along with what you do as an individual. Because remember this, you are not alone, all right? We are a team, and it is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services along, okay, with the power of your efforts and what you do every day. So we are there to help your sellers, in this example, win, okay, and achieve what they want to achieve. It's why we invest all that we do to support all of you in the marketplace that are working directly with sellers there. Now, I want to go more into this marketing piece, and I want to specifically go into, all right, if I'm going to send out some marketing, what are some specific ideas around this marketing that we can send out? Well, one, I don't know if all of you use a pre-listing package, but I got to tell you, in my opinion, I always use one, and it is incredible. And today, it can be all digital. So what do I send out? Well, one, with the VAC 2.0, you can give them examples of a report that just shows them, gives them a taste of the type of technology that you utilize in the marketplace. All right, that's laying the groundwork for when you get face-to-face with them. And like I said, virtually or not, it gives them a taste of what Berkshire Hathaway Home Services and you are going to offer them in the sale and marketing of their home. All right, you need to send them, in my opinion, a Berkshire Hathaway Home Services listing presentation, be it traditional or luxury. We have them both, and you can send them out digitally. Here's the beautiful thing about doing that. when they look through it, and I would advise that they do, okay, ask them to. If they don't, no harm, no foul. It's a digital item that you can bring up later of what you sent them, okay? It's so professional, it's so slick, but while they're looking through it, it will let them subconsciously know the power of your marketing and why you attract more buyers, okay, to you and to the company, which again turns in my opinion, why we sell more properties than our competitors. And we do it at higher prices. So all that works together. So send them that example. If you're not sending it out prior and you're not sending them out that listing presentation prior, it's a mistake. Guys, I'm not even telling you that you're going to go over that listing presentation page by page. When you're there, you're not. But get it to them. Give them an opportunity to check it out and ask you some questions. And then when you're in the property and you've asked them other questions and you understand the mandatories, and again, maybe their additional mandatories that is important to them, you'll know exactly what to share and how to key in on why you're different and you do it better than other agents and other companies. There's the marketing proposal. Now, just keep this in mind. You don't have to send the marketing proposal to them as a pre-listing package because you already sent the listing presentation. But the marketing proposal is something you can leave with them later, again, either virtually or live, and it's just easier to follow. What's the rule of thumb? You go over all this information, and guess what? It was powerful. They love you, but they can forget a lot of that information. So the marketing proposal helps organize their thoughts in a few sheets and lets them know everything that you covered or some of the items you covered. And here's some additional that we didn't even get to. Okay, next, as part of your marketing, and you can do this as part of your pre-listing package, showing them example, is showing them the power of buy side, all right? And letting them know how that increases, again, the buyer pool, all right? Zavvy, showing them the power of Zavvy and how that increases the buyer pool for cash offers. Listen, I know we're dealing in multiple offers and they may not need, it may not be in their best interest to have a iBuyer right now. I get it. But don't miss the opportunity that you're sending the message that no matter what you need, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, me and my organization are here to help you. Okay? We can answer those questions. All right. And then please don't forget to show the power of Berkshire Hathaway National as a company. You know, you've got that slide right in there that shows Fortune magazine, okay, you know, showing where we rank. Who's really our competitors? It's the Apples of the world. It's the Microsofts of the world. It's the Facebooks of the world. That's who our company hangs with. That's very powerful. Please send that. And I'm going to tell you something. Sending that nice picture that comes with it of Warren Buffett never can hurt. All right? He's a powerhouse. And like I've always said, you know what? There's 750,000 shareholders of Berkshire Hathaway stock in the US of A today. All right? And they're all wealthy because that's what an owner of Berkshire Hathaway stock is. Wealthy because it's very expensive. It's over $300,000 for one share of stock. All right. Make sure you're sharing that and letting them know this is who your company really competes with. It's not just another real estate organization out there. It is with the powerhouse players throughout the world. All right. And lastly, the power of Berkshire Hathaway with its global marketing through Juwai, through Fang, through ListHub Global. Anyone interested in tying in to that international market. But keep this in mind. Don't forget about the local market because the local market really is the most powerful aspect. But a lot of people have questions about the international market and you have the power to show that. And really, depending on the marketplace that you are, the international market can be bigger or smaller depending on price range and depending on what you're dealing with. All right. I covered a lot of content today and I went on and on and on. And like I said, you will be able to review this as many times as you would like. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be emailed to you, certainly on Facebook. And most importantly, for all the information that is provided by us here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, please just go to your branch manager. If they have any questions on anything, they can go to Maria Hill in marketing. She will help forward any information that they need, any additional questions that maybe I didn't cover here. In conclusion, I want you to understand this, that presentation matters, all right? And if you're skipping these steps, all you're doing every time you skip a step of thought process, even if you're not covering it in detail, but by just skipping the thought process on the step and really looking at what you personally do along with your organization to help sellers win, you're missing the boat. And I promise you, okay, you will reduce your chances of getting the listing. So let's reverse that and do these things. You may not do everything, I get it, but go through these steps so you can give yourself the highest percentage of tying down and winning that listing. All right. If you like today's content, please like it on Facebook. Please share it. Please follow me. I appreciate everyone's time. I do want to say next week, I'm very excited because we have Winning Marketing with Maria Hill. That's next Tuesday, the 25th, always at 1:30 p.m. See everyone then. Thanks again. Bye-bye.